Hello, guys, and welcome back. Hokori is one game down. That was way too much excitement for Hokori being screwed. They are not looking good against Infamous. Infamous looking like they will be able to force a tiebreakers here, which means more games for us in SA. Woo, yeah! Which means, more chances for Panda to do another Winter Wyvern GG. Very excited about that. Hokori versus Infamous, though. Game 2, they still have a chance. RDO somehow believes in them. And when he says for sure, that means that Hokori's going to win. Why do you believe in them, RDO? Give me your reasoning. And make it extensive.
I mean, cause they're
He's
good
laughing.
players,
He laughed
man.
before he said that. That is not a good sign.
they're good players, man. They're just like disoriented
Okay.
on meta at the moment. But I cheer for them because this is what you do for your friends, kind of.
Okay, that's nice. I want to ask you though, RDO, because I've seen this happen in SA probably more than any other region, but it's happened to other teams in other regions where a team just seems to lose their place, they get discombobulated, and they just don't understand like how to play the meta, and they forget their own personal style. What gets this team back on track besides kicks?
Having a good coach, they for sure need a coach to
They do have a
get
coach.
back on. Yeah, having a new coach. Because it's not working. I mean, I'm not blaming the current coach right now, but they're not good on the meta. That's it. When they were top 3, they understood the total meta. Like they knew what they have to do. They knew when they had to do their plays. They knew what heroes to pick. And now they're just picking Pango and Tiny in the same lane.
Right.
So
that is I agree with you.
RDO.
Even though the lane didn't go that badly, all things considered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to point out that much like Astini, RDO, when you say these statements, the coach then messages me, not you. So I would appreciate if you hold yourself back, you crazy madman. Let's go with Wingblade now. Wingblade, what is this opener to you? Puck Tiny seems more meta. Is it better than the Pango Tiny lane, or do they still have the chance to do that?
Before we discuss the picks, I am quite curious to ask RDO. When you say they don't really play the meta that well, do you specifically mean like the drafts? Do you mean the timings, the items? Like, because meta is a really broad term, and I feel like it gets used a lot, and it's like so vague that it's hard to like make out exactly what people mean.
I feel like they should get more greedy heroes on offlane and pick Yuma non-greedy heroes. Not for the last game as an example, because they picked Monkey King, but for example, they played TB at 3 times against Piscos. And TB for me is not that strong on meta, because you want to have 3 strong cores on each lane and get 3 cores scaling for mid to late game for when it comes for Roche team fights. All your heroes are strong and you have buyback and you win the game by itself, instead of playing like the Infamous playstyle, getting Parker having twice the net worth as the enemy carry and just following him wherever he goes.
Right, that's a very extensive answer. Thank you.
Now, Wingblade, I appreciate you trying to take my job as a host, but let's go back to you being an analyst here. Tell me about the picks here.
But when I need
tell me
to
about
speak about the picks, I need to have knowledge, and I don't have any, so...
No, of course you do, because you are my wonderful analyst.
All right.
Nothing stops you,
forgot.
Wingblade. Yes, you are the best around. Nothing's ever going to let you down. So, Tiny, Puck, Winter Wyvern. Tell them about this start. It's similar to the last one in concept, but a little bit different, especially in the laning stage.
So I think Hokori went to thatdota.com and they looked at like the 2 most picked heroes. They were like, oh, it's Tiny Puck, so we'll pick those 2. And then they're like, shit, they're gonna pick a carry. We need a hero that's good against carries. And they pick Winter Wyvern. Because admittedly, Winter Wyvern is pretty good against carries. But no, in all seriousness, they just really like playing the Tiny. And I get it, because it's a nice position for a playmaker. And Puck, I feel like, is potentially the strongest hero at the moment. Just really good in lane, and then his scaling is pretty insane as well for one of those int mids. And then Winter Wyvern, as I said, even if I did say it jokingly, he is very good against carries. And heroes like TA can struggle with Wyvern if it's like an even game. If TA snowballs, it doesn't really matter, and you can just blow people up anyway.
5 seconds remaining.
That's True, it's also the famed Parker TA, and I'm gonna defer to RDO. Why is this guy so scary on the hero?
Because it has 1 million games on TA. Like
What?
every
1 million. There you go. That's more games than I've ever played in my life.
I feel like every single carry in SA has a good signature carry because it's a hero they play more than the others, and they just become naturally better at it. If you think about Parker has his TA, Bakas has his Morphling, K1 has the Wraith King, for example.
What do you have, RDO? I don't know about yours.
I've
never seen you play one hero more than the others.
Yeah, I have like 600 games on TV, and my second carry with biggest number of games is Spectre Intimate with 300.
Huh, I would have never guessed, RDO. That does not seem like your style. Well, yes.
Currently
sorry,
speaking
for those of you who
about
don't
like
watch
good
SA.
players in Division 1.
Sorry?
What? Sorry?
What?
What'd you say, Wingblade?
No, I didn't say anything. Let's continue.
Okay, I feel like he flamed you, but anyway, let's go on.
the heck?
We have one last pick because there is one player, RDO, that does not have a signature hero. Well, I mean, it's Magnus, but that's not really doesn't count. And that's Yuma. He is probably the most versatile carry that we have in SA Division 1, so his pool is very open, usually something they abuse in the drafts. So what's the best carry? What's the optimal carry here if you were playing Hokori? There is no Terrorblade, so you already have an option gone.
They can actually pick PL. They don't have any illusion counters at the moment in Infamous Draft. I mean, it's a greedy hero, but it's a hero that if gets farm, it will carry.
Yeah, I like it. It's a really good matchup here.
But if he misses one item, he's gonna lose. He needs to get like the Fuso Yasha hard, because if he goes for like Mentor or something, TA would just eat the map, get Roche, get your 2 skill enemies, and it will be so hard to farm.
I'm a bit worried about the playmaking potential before he gets farmed though. Because if you look at the Hokori heroes, it's gonna be quite hard to take like 4v5 skirmishes, I think, against what the Infamous has right now. Because even with Puck and Tiny, you have the Dawnbreaker, so any hero they go on is instantly gonna have support. Also, this is an interesting jet pick.
What? Yeah, I took a second. So is Parker not playing the TA?
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Wow.
It's TA mid? That's so
New
disappointing.
play style, guys. New play style for Infamous. the alone guy playing position 1.
Could be.
I mean, that was a classic
Jug
from
support,
Alone,
right?
Yes. I mean, I'm not even gonna joke about the Jug support because
Yes,
one
it's
day
Axel.
we casted a CK support, so no. Jug's carry.
Mate, Axel is the guy who innovated gyrocopter support, right? For a while, he was doing PA support. Do you remember those times?
Yeah, he
when
also
thought that
tried
was
this Ven
broken?
support.
Yes.
Lost.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, he just likes carries, dude. He just plays anything. So
Oh my.
maybe Wingblade. Who knows? Okay. I also think that Alone is a better NP than a TA, to be honest. Like, it feels like Alone should be playing MP. TA should go to Parker. What happened to their draft, man?
No,
I kind
no.
of hope it's a Jug support. No, I swear, man. I think it's the best option for this draft, Ernie. Don't
Come on,
laugh at me.
guys. Stop pretending. It's Jug carry. It's a good Jug carry because he kind of blocks the PL pick. Because if they pick PL, he's gonna go Maelstrom and spin build
Okay.
with Shard and Talents, and PL won't be
Okay.
able to play. There's also the healing ward, right? It's very good for pushing strats. Yeah, and they go for PL anyway.
Go for PL anyway.
So now it's
All
TA
right.
support then, because you don't want to play core TA against PL, right? RDL?
Sorry?
That's unfortunate.
Oh no, it's
That
Alone.
is unfortunate. I think there's a blunder, Wingblade. What would you say? I think it's either Jug or TA support here. I don't know why they're putting them cores, honestly.
Yeah, must be a mistake. Maybe they misclicked and we'll have to remake the draft.
That does make sense. That is probably the most plausible explanation. Well, seeing this, Wingblade, what would you say? Well, what would you say is the better draft here?
I am so confused by what Infamous is doing. I feel like the Prophet 5 really doesn't work this game. But you know, I still feel like Infamous is by far the better team. So I'm gonna put my money on them, even if it seemed like they just randomly picked some hero as their fourth.
Awesome. Yep. RDO, you talked about this Jug deviation and why you liked it against the PL. Is that enough?
I think that's enough because with the TA, they'll accelerate the game so much that PL won't be able to farm his heart and the game will just end by itself. But I still think the Hokari draft is better, but I'm still going with Infamous because they're just
What?
playing better.
You said
Okay.
2-1 Hokori. Don't back down now, man. Come on.
No. It's Infamous, guys. Let's go Infamous.
Okay, he doesn't even justify it, guys. RDO straight up swap teams. He put the other team's shirt, and he's just not even.
I cannot
pretending
lose
like
my reputation of 100% predictions.
Yes, that you lost that a while ago, RDO, but I'm glad that you still think that. It's all about saying it more often. And who's going to talk very often here is going to be our two casters in this Infamous vs. Hokori matchup. Guys, will Infamous be able to work? And most importantly, should it have been a Jug support? Snare, Kips?
Jug support, it could have been. I mean, we've seen some magnificent support players coming in, but we get something also quite atypical here, the +5 Nature's Prophet. So we still get something strange, Avo, don't worry. +5 Nature's Prophet. Kips, are you feeling this? It's only the 4th game of this hero in the DPC being played as a 5. How do you feel about the hero overall? Is it what they needed for Infamous?
I do not mind the Nature's Prophet 5. I think in general this is this hero's stat growth and the global teleport just enable it to be an absolute pest no matter what role you play it on. So that is really not my objection to the draft here. I'm more surprised by the fact that this is not actually a proper carry TA and she's going to have to be sharing farm this game with this Juggernaut, who has a very important role, by the way, because yeah, he's the only one who could shut down this Phantom Lancer. Of course, Phantom Lancer, quite ass, but on the other hand, this is a very good PL game if the Jug does not get off the ground.
Yeah, Audio was mentioning in the panel about how the Juggernaut can indeed build into countering the PL directly. However, they already have access for the spin build to this Batrider as well as this Winter Wyvern. You can utilize these spells to just try to prevent Jug from getting all in your face with that spin damage. Hokori have a fairly interesting draft. Talk to me about some of these heroes. Batrider, of course, now going to be played in the mid lane for them, and they have decided to shift Tiny into the support still, but off-lane Puck is another weird thing that's happening in this game. We do not see this at all. So what do you make of it in this game, and why don't you think we see this lane like this often?
I think, well, normally you don't really see Puck in the offlane because it benefits too much from like the extra farm speed you get out of the mid camp. But in this case, if you really want to make this TA regret the decision to go mid, you put that Batrider there. So this is simply a fact of like where does the TA lane? She's mid, okay, the bat goes there. And Puck can make do with this. Of course, low armor hero, doesn't really like offlaning, doesn't get all of the extra EXP that would get out of mid lane. Like, this is definitely a bit awkward, but I do think it's worth it for the fact that you want to kick this TA out of the lane as hard as possible. Like, punish them for this greed in their draft.
I suppose when you're all going for this Nature's Prophet 5, there's much less threat that can realistically be applied towards Vitali. You should never die in this lane. Like, honestly, that should just be an impossibility for yourself. So, you should have a more or less decent time. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what the...
Did you see how much damage he took from the right clicks, though?
Yeah, you can never show in the lane. You have to play, like, all the way back to the tower, but you don't die. It'll be fine. That's all that matters. Just staying alive sometimes.
By a ring of protection or something, I'm sure you can build it into something useful, right?
Ring of Health.
Famous armor building hero.
Oh, that would be fun to watch. Let's look at this top lane though, because this is going to be quite important. Oscar on this Dawnbreaker, because they have this Temporal Assassin in the mid lane, it does mean that Oscar is providing a lot of their map tempo, their map movement, a lot of their non-just hard physical solo target damage that they'll need in this game. How does this lane go for the Dawnbreaker, and what do you build in this kind of game? I don't think you can go for the Desert, right? You just rush BKB on the hero?
Yeah, very possible. I mean, the highest priority is always to your shard. And I do actually like the idea of a BKB rush. There's a ton of magic damage here. Of course, there's still a bunch of BKB piercing stuns, but it will make you pretty much invulnerable to everything else, especially considering the fact that this PL might just go for a Diffusal Blade. He has it queued up right now.
Early
That
diffu.
could make your fights miserable.
Have you seen this interaction between Dawnbreaker and Winter Wyvern? It can sometimes get really hilarious. Like, you come in with the Solar Guardian, and if Winter Wyvern is patient enough, you just wait, and then just before the hero's about to come in, You are the hero that's already inside the SG. Then Oscar comes in and does nothing. It's kind of hilarious. I wonder if Godic's gonna make it happen. But he disappointed me on my OG Warlock, so I need to make up for it here. I need to play really well. Godic, you hear me? Do your best, fam. Restore my faith in you.
And what plays do you want out of a Warlock, though? Like,
You must press the appropriate fatal bond and R. Sometimes a good... You said it yourself at the end of the game, that R wasn't on target. You need better
yeah,
R.
it's true. Like, in that regard, it's like the bar was pretty low, and he still stumbled over it. In a game like that, though, what can you do?
In this game too, though. As usual that we expect from Hokori, things aren't looking too terrible for them in the laning phase. Trouble started later on in that regard. So for now, as long as they can maintain this farm pressure, get some CS for themselves. Unfortunately, the way the lanes are stacked up for them, they can't necessarily muscle anybody from Infamous away from their lanes, except for this mid lane. That's where Analog might have to put in a lot of work to make sure Alone suffers, but elsewhere, it does feel like Infamous is going to get a pretty decent laning phase for themselves.
Yeah, and Alone isn't even suffering right now. That is the weirdest part to me. Like, they specifically switched their lanes around to get this matchup, and Alone is sure he's uncomfortable, and it's probably going to get a little worse before it gets better, but he's already at a place where he could just jungle if he wanted to.
TA mid, how I have not missed you. Seeing this again. Shackles now. They try looking for this first blood. Oscar and Michael trying to find Godic. Godic, flap away. There we go. Those are the plays we wanted, but unfortunately, still ends up dying. Michael claiming the first blood. Unfortunately for him, although the flap play was decent with the Arctic Burn, Shadow Shaman, highest base damage in the game for a support, so easily able to get that kill.
Yeah, man's hits like a truck.
Doesn't actually
And
make
this
sense
is-
to me why Shadow Shaman has that much damage. Like, Treant makes sense. Like, this big giant tree running at you, but look at the Shadow Shaman model. He's so tiny. Why does he hurt so much?
Because the lords above have decided that if his range is this bad, he needs something to make up for it. He can't throw his projectiles very far because they're very heavy, but that's why they hurt a lot. There we go.
Oh, you see these body blocks from El Misho. What a player down bottom. Who
Very
needs
nice.
additional stuns when you can literally just build a wall in front of him, prevent the escape? Nicely done. And Yuma, unfortunately, Parker, excuse me, can't necessarily show up to help with the spin. Okay. And who got the kill? Was it Vitali? Indeed it was. So more gold going towards the puck right now.
Very happy to see this. Before about
Oh,
half
no.
Yeah, they're getting him.
Oh
This is
my gosh.
really good news for him. I don't know what kind of build-up we're going to see from him. Like, old school offline puck is like a, Yule's blink immediately, but the Witchblade does so much work for a puck that, yeah, he's queuing it up. He's going for it. He says, I have a game. You agreed, I agreed.
Let's play greedy. Witchblade super good here, given the heroes that they have on the side of Infamous. Not only is it going to be great doing the Juggernaut spin for just raw right click, but it's phenomenal versus the CA that we see in the mid lane. Pretty much instantly between that and a couple hits, there's no more refraction.
It's 6
but
minutes.
She will get some bonus gold because it is 6 minutes and they are making this move middle. Analog tried to get the turnaround with the lasso play, but unfortunately for him, Godic a bit too slow on the rotation and came out with not that much mana. Amisho looking for a way to toss back Affliction, and they're not going to be able to find it. 6 minutes. Oh, and the rune spawns in the top lane. Everything coming up aces right now for Infamous here in this mid lane matchup.
And Alone has successfully survived his laning stage now. I think this is one of the things that just shows how disorganized Hokori are. Like, if you've watched Infamous, you know that they're going to show up with 1 or 2 supports on the mid lane at 6 minutes. Be ready for it. And this looked like an improvised TP from Gardic. That's just... you gotta have time to think about these things. Infamous has been doing this for the entire season, every single time.
Yep. Need to do the research.
Another
read the
top
room.
Yuma.
Yuma is definitely dead. Affliction showing up here. They want to try and get the Hex out from Michael, and indeed they do. They don't get the range for the Shackles yet, though. When is he going to get access to the Doppelganger? Well, he's going to get on his next life. However, Vitali might be able to make some counterplay here. 2 heroes caught inside the Dream Coil. Unfortunately, doesn't catch Oscar, but Oscar will get caught by El Misho's Avalanche, cancelling out the TP. Vitali will shortly have the damage to kill him, and have the damage to turn this into a double. If he can find Affliction, we'll find him with the Waning Rift. There's a double kill for themselves. Yeah, they lose out on Yuma, but great response, and they also managed to find Michael as well, as Analog showed up for this fight. 3 heroes will fall in the top lane.
Very nice. And now the PL can actually go to mid and defend this tower, which is normally a problem for Hokori, where they rotate into a side lane, get a bunch of kills, and promptly their mid tower falls over. But since Yuma died top, yeah, he can come here and keep that TA off. So holding on for now. That said, it's not yet 10 minutes. See what happens as soon as we cross the 10-minute threshold. Last time, let's get me the exact same thing.
It's looking
they don't
decent
look
for a
so
while
bad.
until it wasn't, and then it looked terrible. The one bright spot for Infamous though during all of this is that Parker, yet again as usual, it was free farming, and he managed to almost destroy the tier 1 tower down in this bottom lane. This is pretty big because he hasn't taken any damage at all on his own tier 1, so they have a lot more real estate to play with for the side of Infamous on this side of the map. He still hasn't decided what he's building though. It should be the Maelstrom build. That's what we see. Alright, there we go. Made the decision now. I'm sure he was trying to... Not probably happened. He was talking to his team, trying to convince them that he could build Battle Fury, and they're like, dude, it's PL. Just build the Maelstrom.
As revenge, he's going to build the entire Mjolnir immediately.
Like, fine. There we go. Gets the tower though. Feeling a lot stronger on the map. He's level 7. So they are still not going to have the easiest time killing the Juggernaut unless they bring in the puck to this bottom lane. And Vitaly, very comfortable playing up on top with El Misho. About to crack level 8. Just wants to finish off this Witchblade, get this bonus damage for themselves. How long do you think they can hold this top tower for on the top end of the map?
Gonna be rough once Michael hits 6. Like, the Mass Serpent Wards are gonna come in and they don't really have a great way to deal with that. You gotta bring in all your guns. Guardix needs to be there. I'm not sure. I think you should just try to get as many kills on Vitaly here as possible and then rotate him out. See if you can get through the mid tower, through the bottom one, because this is something that also seems to be happening in all of Hokori's games, is Vitaly will make a successful rotation to the safe lane and then he will stay stuck there. Because he needs to finish an item and he will just be there until his item is finished.
Yep.
Like, for his sake, I'm
now.
kind of hoping he just loses that tower and he goes elsewhere, because that is a coil that's currently not being used.
Especially if you're putting this here on the off lane, right? You would imagine that they'd want to be constantly utilizing the spell, getting the gold off of farming these heroes at these earlier stages when they are certainly killable. I'm really surprised, especially that they're not like invading the Juggernaut side of the map. You know that he's going to be farming all these stacks that they've made for him, and he's not that difficult of a kill right now if you can get the silence out onto him. So we'll see what Hokori decides to do. Now though, it is just a farm situation, and that usually does benefit the side of Infamous. They might fight though over this rune here, but no. Rune spawns on the other side, so they have nothing to utilize to take this fight.
Oh, Gardic just gets walked at by a Juggernaut who doesn't actually want to Omni-Slash him. Okay. Fine. I think you probably have a point in the Cold Embrace. He's right. Does not waste his slash yet. I mean, most Jugs try to save their second point for their ult until they get a second point in it, right? If they don't really need to use it. The one Omni-Slash is bad. And there we go! Serpent Wards on top. It's over.
But fortunately, it's not Vitaly that ends up dying here. It is El Misho, who was occupying some of the lane space to try and get closer towards the Blink Dagger. Won't get close enough though. Ends up dying. Towers being pushed in with the Siege Wagon and these Serpent Wards. Should be easy work for them to do. And like you said, you're hoping that this tower gets brought down quickly, so that Vitaly has no choice but to make moves elsewhere on the map. But he is committed. He's in the jungle. He's finishing the Switchblade. He's not going anywhere until this item is done.
Very unfortunate, because Analog just got his boots of travel, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to be the one to make something happen with that timing, but he's just queued up a BKB, and he's also in the jungle right now. And this gold difference is slowly ticking up towards Infamous, and especially with the tower now being down on the top side, there's just going to be naturally a little bit more farm for Infamous on the map in total.
I'll be honest with you, Kips. I actually can't believe they're getting away with this. Like, there's a Solar Guardian, or TP rather, from the NP into the jungle, finds Vitaly, forces him away. Now Alone is going to be farming not only the triangle, but Dire jungle as well. They really are getting away with TA mid with Juggernaut safe lane. Wow, okay. Hokori, you need to play more aggressively to try and stop this, and they're going to do so in this mid lane. They're reaching for the Juggernaut. We spoke about how he can die if he's silenced, but unfortunately for them, they didn't bring in enough heroes. Juggernaut gets assistance from the Solar Guardian Oscar saves his life and then also kills the Tiny. That is not what they needed, and now with the double damage rune on alone, they are gonna go and get a date with the big man. Roshan is on the cards right now. Infamous want to press their advantage on the map.
Well, they are doing this into Puck Batrider, and I don't have. They have good damage, but. Oh,
Falling really low. They need to go.
Tumbles away.
Hokori? Gonna let this go for free? Oh my god. They let it go for free. There's a shackle down onto Analog right now. Goddic will drop the Winter's Curse. It's gonna be good enough for them to kill the Juggernaut. He loses his life. He's not the one that was carrying the Aegis. At the same time, they will lose the puck though. Vitaly commits his life for the cause. Alone is now all alone. Surrounded by the PL. Yuma does have access to the Diffusal Blade. Looks like, you know what, you're baiting them into taking this fight in the Roshan pit. They take away the first life. Almost alone. Still alive for now. Will finally die as El Misho dies inside the War Trap maybe. As Goddic buys some time with the Cold Embrace. They get out the Avalanche toss onto Affliction. Affliction doesn't have the damage. It's a 5 position Nature's Prophet. He doesn't have enough to punch into El Misho. They kill him as well. Aegis is gone. Nature's Prophet is dead. Juggernaut got brought down too. And Hokori, nothing of value is lost. I mean, Vitaly does die, but dies for the cause. And they end up winning the team fight in the Roshan pit.
Yeah. Looking good for them. Great Diffusal Blade reveal there for Yuma, and great patience there from Goddic as well. They bring down the only guy that can fight the PL, and after that, sure, his damage may be limited, but there's nobody who can actually do anything to him. So he slowly chips down that Aegis and several of his opponents. Feels pretty good, and now it's back to farming though for Hokori. I understand everybody was back up. The Dawnbreaker is sitting on mid again. The Juggernaut is mad. You can't just bunch up and go for the mid tower like that, even though they had a coil, but you'd wish they got something more out of that than just the Aegis down, because the gold difference once again hasn't shifted. It's still ticking up for infinity. I feel like a broken record. Help! Snare, help!
Help us out, Hokori. They're gonna try help maybe with Analog. If he gets this kill, they could turn this into something more, but no lasso if Friction just TPs out. Part of the problem as well is that this draft, they don't have any real tower hitters. Like, only when PL gets really, really strong, you utilize his life to siege, but unless there's pretty much nobody in the wave like we see on bottom, the only way they can push is in this particular fashion, just hoping to split it up. Even with all this time, it's taking so long for them to get real estate on this map. A bit unfortunate.
And I like that you bring it up, because this is one of their biggest Achilles heels. Like, if you ban the Beastmaster and Visage in the first phase of the draft, then they actually will almost never end up having any tower hitters at all. It's very rare. Which is exactly what Infamous have done, and I think that is also why they are drafting so greedy, because they know that Hokori they don't commit 5-man to these tower pushes. That's just not a plan that's in their books, so they won't take your towers. Like, maybe one will fall down eventually. El Misho is making use of that on the bot lane right now, the fact that tower went down, but they're certainly not aiming for it on Hokori. Yeah.
Hokori Syndrome, it's an addiction at this point. Farm away. And, well, top lane. We see them getting a quick jump onto Analog. Infamous certainly not suffering the same affliction. Analog will try to stay alive using the lasso to buy time, but Goddic didn't even bother with the Cold Embrace. Vitaly, though, might be able to assist them in bringing down Oscar. 1-1 exchange, but, normally I would say that Oscar is the offlaner and Analog is the mid, but if you look at this net worth, Oscar has long since surpassed this Batrider, so he's actually the more valuable kill on the Dawnbreaker.
Well, Yuma is joining this time at least. Unsure if he can find anything.
Aka found Winter Wyvern. El Misho's hiding in the trees. They know that he's here, and they really want to try and get something out of this. And look at the jump! They get onto the puck, but the Avalanche will be there to interrupt the lockdown, and now they get this full turnaround. Alone, no Aegis this time around. Will certainly end up losing his life. The TP from El Misho turned out to be uber clutch, as he saves the life of the puck, sets up to kill the TA, and helps them to save the tier 2 tower in this mid lane.
Very nice, and yeah, this Jug does not want to continue deeper because he is in fact going for the full Mjolnir first. How did I know? He's going Blink
like
Dagger now.
stats.
No,
He doesn't even put point into stats. What a player! Like, no Manta, no SNY, no point in stats. Just playing raw for this wave clear. What a guy Parker is.
Maelstrom Blink Dagger. I do not wish to encourage these shenanigans. What a guy.
This is so awesome. I mean, to be fair to Parker, no matter what transpires with this build, even if this game goes horribly wrong for them, it cannot do worse for the pub scene than what Ramses did with the rush on Midas on Juggernaut. So the damage has already been done. Games are already ruined. Parker, you can't do much more, fam. So just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Just do what you want, how you feel. Affliction, TP's out. Feels good for Hokori to finally have a carry player that is actually a threat while he's farming. Like, I think we've missed that with the previous games as well. Yuma definitely a danger in this game.
Ooh, look at this. Double blink reveals coming to the top lane. They get the avalanche out onto the Juggernaut. The leash coming in. Only gonna catch the Shadow Shaman though. Parker left behind on the far side of the fight. Oscar will find himself getting Winter's Curse. Can't keep the chase going onto Vitaly. It's only Affliction dealing out this damage, but what it does crucially is waste the BKB reveal from Oscar as he ends up losing his life. Nature's Prophet dies as well. And Yuma, once again, showed up to the fight to provide damage. It will put him on a killing spree, put him at the top of the net worth charts right now. And Hokori, putting them into a position where they are playing actively on the map. That was a double blink reveal from Vitaly and the Tiny. Perfect time to reveal some of the incoming damage from Yuma. And a great time to stop the BKB reveal from Infamous.
Yeah, most of that wasted in the Winter's Curse. And you could see there that neither one of the other cores of Infamous really felt like running in there to deal the damage. Of course, the Juggernaut is made of paper right now. And the TA doesn't actually deal that much damage because she is just about 800 gold off of her Desolator. So neither of them hitting a really big peak here because they have been sharing the farm.
You were worried about this in the advent of the draft itself, the fact that they have to share so much farm on the map. And earlier they were getting away with some of this greed, but starting to bite them a little bit, especially in lieu of these item decisions from Parker. Except his Blink Dagger now, so I feel like they have to kind of fight, but you feel really bad going this Blink Dagger and not fighting instead of going for like the max heads up.
Absolutely.
But I mean, there's also some carry players who swear by the fact that Blink just makes you farm faster, so that might be the rationale he's operating under.
It's true. I love that he's sticking to his guns though. He's gonna buy stats now, you know, there's a silence over on the puck, like it's probably a good idea to get that Manta style eventually.
Grudgingly, but eventually.
Oh no, he switches out as soon as I say that. Scotty Lincoln's boys.
Super grudgingly. So grudging he's not even gonna do it. He's like, Manta, for what? He's like, Oscar, you've got me, right, fam? You'll just press Solo Guardian. You cool? Alright.
Oh, you don't like that I didn't build any stats? Fine, I'll show you stats, woman.
They're not even building a Lotus on anybody. Oh no, it is coming. Okay, Nature's Prophet is building a Lotus. Okay.
I was about to say.
Okay. I was about to be like, wow, really? That's going very hard in, but they at least have that defensive prowess from their position 5 Nature's Prophet. And like you mentioned, because he has such stellar stat gain, he can keep farming up the map, pushing in waves by himself, and get to these kind of items sooner than other past 5 heroes could. So things looking okay here for Affliction. For Hokori, they are about to pick up the BKB though for Analog. Surely they have to try and make a move as soon as this arrives, right?
Yeah, definitely, especially because the heart is very, very, very close for Yuma right now. So this is where for Infamous it's kind of make or break. Like Yuma's timing has arrived. It has been prophesized by RDO. We're gonna see what they have right now. Because yeah, they have damage on Parker. They have damage on Alone now as well. Is that enough versus the hard PL?
Ooh, speaking of the PL to Jug matchup, if we click on Parker, he did not go for the Blade Fury talent at level 10. He went for the stat instead. And he doesn't have an Aghanim shard right now, so it's been not as strong as it could be normally, as Affliction gets caught out by this lasso. And I think maybe there's the answer for why he's not even bothering to level up the Blade Fury. They bought Bat Rider, so he just lassos, you waste all the timing anyway, so why even bother?
Yeah, like the Blade Fury is not very valuable in this game just because either the lasso will come in or we're going to see Winter's Curse targeted at him constantly. And the Winter's Curse that's the other thing that they did by taking 2 right-click carries, right? They made the Winter's Curse way more potent. And we saw that with Alone taking out the Juggernaut earlier.
We even saw it when they committed Curse onto Oscar. If Dawnbreaker's the one standing still, they actually have no teamfight presence overall. And they're just like, well, we have this damage, but who's going to make the space for us to get it off without immediately dying? So Oscar is the one that needs to frontline for them. I just feel like provided you get like Lens already available, if you get this Blink Dagger for Gardic, this game becomes super good. He's got the Philly Stone, so we should be able to get there for him. And finally, you love to see it. A mid-game smoke from Hokori. Alrighty, let us go. Who's the target here, Kips?
Mid-game smoke behind Yuma, I might add. Not one of those wimpy 3-man smokes where they're just trying to get a kill and then sit back again. I don't think they want anybody, honestly. They're just gonna let Yuma hit this tower. You're like, hey, you want this man? He's got a heart.
Hokori just functioning as a bodyguard crew right now for the PL. But it's effective bodyguarding.
Counter
As
smoke?
we take down this tier 1 tower. There's a counter smoke from Infamous though. Who are they gonna find with this jump? Blink Deso on the TA, but she does not have access to the BKB. Parker has Blink Mjolnir, but only has the ultimate orb. So if he gets caught by anything, also in an awkward position. And just another smoke that doesn't really get them all that much. As they will smoke up. They know practically where these heroes are, but they're not gonna make the incursion just yet. Maybe not. Affliction might stick around to pop the face check. And they instead go to the Roach. What? This is a sneaky maneuver coming in from Hokori. Or from Infamous, rather.
For Infamous, yeah, extremely. There's no way. You just took down the mid tower. There's no way you expect them to be in that pit right now.
Nicely done. They steal it away, but they might still end up losing heroes on the retreat here. Affliction, first one to get brought down. They know where Parker is. Parker has spin TP, but he can't actually use it here. Analog has a haste rune. Oh no. It's almost like the Jaws movie. Play the soundtrack. They're coming for him. Parker forced to spin. And now they can easily go on to alone. Bye-bye, TA. You don't have an Aegis. You don't have protection. Or she's the one with the Aegis, rather. But no
Yeah,
PKB.
she is. She's alone.
What?
Literally.
Okay. That's easy. Nice. I thought Parker would have the Aegis, but they left it to the TA.
Hey, Parker wasn't even in the pit. He was pushing out top because it was a bluff, right? It's like, we're smoked behind Parker, actually. Oh, he wasn't there.
Unfortunate.
Worry gets a good kill, gets a tower. Is this the revival we've been dreaming of?
That was the second time in this game that we've seen on the side of Hokori them being able to immediately take a fight right after Aegis was taken. It's sort of the inverse of game 1, right? Where we saw in game 1, Infamous very much astutely timing exactly when Hokori would have their abilities down. This time it's Hokori being like, well, there's no way they take Aegis easily without having to commit some key spells, so let's just go in, force this fight. We have the better AoE control anyway. And they succeed, they get a tier 1 tower in the top lane. This is starting to look a lot better for Hokori, and crucially, they finally managed to minimize this gold lead.
Taking terrain, they've left defensive vision now. They've got all of the items they could want on their cores.
Got it. Oh well, somebody has to die. And you've been doing a good job this time around, buddy, so it's all good. Will lose his life proudly for his squad, and there's going to be some counter engagement because Vitaly helps to bring down Michael very early on in the fight. Affliction trying to leave with the TP, but not going to be allowed to do so by Yuma. He right clicks him down. Analog and the gang are starting to feel really, really strong right now. Hokori take a 2-for-1 engagement, and now they already have Yuma pushing in this mid wave. They are learning that they're not going to just go back to farming the jungle, Kips. Look at this sense of purpose coming in from Hokori.
I love it. I mean, this is the first time that we've seen Yuma have a clear, like, game-winning type of timing that he also actually got to reach. And this is them in the driver's seat right now, because you can see that every time they engage these two cores from Infamous, just split and farm. They don't feel secure. Parker has the Lincolns right now, which should definitely shore him up, but that will only save him from one of the possible BKB piercers.
Well, let's see if it'll help him out in this situation, Kips, because they know where he's at. Arctic Bird, got it? Sees what's up. Oh no, they're not going to fly over him. There's going to be the Lucio, but it's a second too late. Parker trying to TP out. Do they have the way to cancel it? No, they do not. Unfortunately, that is the one play that he has available to him that they have zero answers for. And as soon as he does it, he leaves the top lane or the bottom lane. That would have been very scary if they had all the heroes collapse at once, but they don't, so he manages to escape.
That was millimeters though. Like, that lasso was primed and ready. Alone bringing up the split push. He will have a BKB eventually, probably before the enemy team reaches his high ground, so it's not all bad for Infamous right now, but they definitely have to scrounge together this extra farm. ED on the jug. Yuma went in.
Yuma went in. He's found several core heroes here. Winter's Curse catches Oscar. This is a great situation because TA is doing half the damage for them. Oscar now getting caught out with the lasso. They've removed Solar Guardian from play. That's cost Vitali his life though. And Alone now trying to turn up with the damage. Solar Guardian brought back on Oscar to try and utilize it in the fight. And they'll turn this damage out onto this Tiny. Now suddenly Yuma's all alone. Finds himself dying because Parker in that fight got off the GG slash, had a double damage rune as well. So dealt 7,000 damage all by his lonesome and turns the fight for the side of Infamous.
He did not get caught in the Winter's Curse there. That was once again extremely close. If he gets caught there, that fight looks...
Oh gosh. Now we have Infamous pushing onto this high ground. Situation was as it stood with Hokori being able to fight here and there. They forced so many good skirmishes. But this is the thing that Infamous always has in their drafts that Hokori does not. The ability to punish the opponent when they make a key mistake or take a bad fight. And this time around, it's a bad fight for Hokori. Immediately, they push out onto the space. Alone having the Deso, having the army of the Affliction, Nature's Prophet. They didn't even use the Mass Serpent Wards there. More than enough to take out the towers. Oh well, Hokori. Tale as old as time. You are doing okay in the Dota game. Sometimes maybe even going as far as to win the Dota game. And then you take one fight and you're losing. Game is very, very difficult. Infamous will have to figure out so many ways just to keep control of this game. But for Hokori, it's now starting to have that time to think about how do we come back into this one. We were doing so well. We need something to just keep Vitali alive. It feels like every fight where he's the one that dies is that one just go disastrously for the side of Hokori. He's only died twice in this game, but those two deaths, well, the first one was fine. The second one really, really hurt. Next time it cannot be allowed to happen, and that's why they want to build this Lincoln Sphere for him. But it might be too little too late, especially if they end up losing the next skirmish they take, given how much farm Infamous got over the last one. Also loving this Parker build. Lol. Basher for him. Purchased after the Lincoln Sphere. Straight into the Abyssal Blade. 30 minutes into a game that has a puck involved and a Batrider even. And you're still like, Manta, meh. Manta's for scrubs. Real players just buy all these damage items and these farming items. And so far he's been proven right. He's vindicated by his greedy decision making. Now they're going to try and force another fight because the entire complement of Infamous showing up to the top side of the map. Going to control this outpost. Still a while before they have Roshan, so they might just wait for that before they try to do something truly game-breaking on the map. But that does mean that Hokori has time. They need to marshal a response before their time runs out. Here we go. Here's the response. Smoke up for them. Asher also now available for Yuma. He's bought out completely, so they need to be able to find the fight. They get the first jump out onto this Michael Shadow Shaman. They should be able to find and kill him. Not the only target they've caught out, though, because they've also found out Affliction. The Lotus Orb is available for him, but it will not matter. Both supports are down. Outpost will be reclaimed. And they immediately port bottom, because they've seen exactly what Infamous has been doing. Whenever they take a partner fight on the western part of the map, immediately Infamous tries to farm their triangle. Not gonna happen this time around though, because they are aware of this and they force Alone away with the TPs. But Hokori could still chase. I hope they do. Oh, Misho has the blink back. I think did he get the vision? Did you see this?
Dire are scanning. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They have awareness of what might happen. Oh, jump in from the Juggernaut. Parker spinning onto them. Not going to be able to get the kill just yet. Doesn't want to go past the river for now. Everybody just holding their horses, playing very timidly. And looks like everybody's going to be like, well, this is not the fight we actually want to take to end this one out. But it is still nice though, Kips, to see that Hokori is not playing in a situation where they're just backed up into their base. They still are playing out of the map. Sure, they've lost the lane of Rax, but they're not playing like a team that is not feeling confident about their prospects of still winning the game. Oh no. We're just sorting out a quick audio issue with the homegirl Kips, so we'll be back in a hot second. In the meantime, we'll have this posturing around the Roshan pit because the big man up in 10 seconds. Both teams absolutely could use this. If Yuma gets a hold of this Aegis, it becomes very difficult for Infamous to win out a fight because then they can just commit one of the PL's lives. But if Infamous gets it, especially if they can get it onto either Alone or Parker, life looks very different for how these fights pan out. They are going to be going for it. Yet again, mass open wards with the Deso hits. Look how quickly this has gone. Less than 10 seconds and there's no more Roshan. Aegis most certainly going to go towards the TA. They get caught out. How do they not scout these things out? They had illusions. They had all the ways to be able to deal with this. What happened, Kips? Why didn't they make their move into the pit?
I don't know, like sometimes in points like this where you still need to determine how you're going to deal with like a Rax loss, you need to suddenly say, hey, you go here, and you're scrambling to recover everything. And they might have just literally been a couple of seconds behind, but at this level, a couple of seconds is all that it takes. Yuma was making his way over there.
Dota 2 game of margins, and this margin very favorable for Infamous right now. They're going to smoke and try and really break the game. Going onto the high ground is Parker. He goes in, finds El Nisho. They get the Hex out as well. Tiny going to fall very, very shortly. Oscar gets the full jump with the Solar Guardian, and the GG slashes out. Parker will not be able to get caught in the Winter's Curse because he was removed from the game at the time. They will still be able to kill at least Alone, but Parker will claim the life of the PL, spinning him down with this Juggernaut and claiming a double kill. Vitaly also gets bashed up. First hit here by the Jug. Fortunately for him, not going to be completely chain locked. Is able to get back into the base. However, with how quickly they push, Tier 2 is gone. They're coming for the second lane of Rax here. Kips, what is the counterplay option when you don't have a PL for another 70
When
seconds?
you don't have a Winter Curse, when you don't have a Winter Wyvern. That is the big thing that they've been afraid of all game long. These two cores killing each other, and as soon as it's gone, they have absolutely no trouble. Once again, this Juggernaut, the fact that he's not actually in that Winter's Curse means that Infamous wins the fight. And I think that means they win the series here.
Looking that way as Michael is going to drop down the finale of these Mass Serpent Wards. They're going to be sending Hokori down to Division 2. They're already there, but they're going to send them further down in style. One last buyback from Gardic. He doesn't have Winter's Curse for another 15 seconds, so he can't do anything here. Yet again, Hokori are impotent. Yet again, they throw in the GG. And Infamous will claim game number 2, force these tiebreakers in South America, and show us that they might be a team that deserves that major pedigree.
Yeah. They still got it here. And, well, I'm sort of sad that we got to see a Hokori here that had a goal, that had moves, that had that good laning stage that they normally relied on for at least half of their maps on the ones that they did well. But in the end, all it takes really is for Gardic to not have perfect ults and they still bite the dust. That feels rough.
Yeah, it came really, really close in that situation. There were several circumstances and several occasions where it did feel like Hokori might be able to bring this game back. And they were ahead as we see this win probability was favoring them for quite some time after a couple of really good fights, especially being able to reclaim Aegises as soon as Infamous was claiming them. But unfortunately, just one fight goes awfully for them, and Infamous Esports will be able to close out the game. You mentioned in the game itself that whenever Hokori lack Visage, lack Beastmaster, they don't have a way to quickly force out these towers and force these objectives, which means they don't have an easy way to own the game. But Infamous certainly made that possible. The greed of Parker, Juggernaut, and a lone TA pays off for them in the end. Of course, Michael and Affliction helped out as well, did their part with the building damage. Much more balance from Infamous. Hokori, lots of lessons to learn. We want to find out what lessons they still need to learn, but we still need to celebrate Infamous forcing these tiebreakers. Avo, you and the boys, how do y'all feel about now having another day of work? Because Infamous has guaranteed us tiebreakers at the top of the card.
Good. The more work, the better. That's what they say. So, that's what I was looking for the whole time. Tiebreakers in SA, it's almost a classic. If it's Beast Coast that lose, consider they're playing with a stand-in, and less likely. That's almost the SA DPC, man. You get to the end of the SA DPC. Oh, Beast Coast looking so strong. Oh, they're gonna do so well. Oh, they drop one game against a team that they shouldn't drop a game at. Oh no, Beast Coast is now tiebreakers. Oh, Beast Coast wins tiebreakers. Oh, Beast Coast going to the major. I've done this for 5 seasons, man. At this point, it's kind of just I'm used to it. But in this game, though, Infamous just looked absolutely dominant over Hokori that will be relegated at the end of the season with only a single win. RDO, does it saddens you to see Hokori in this state when they were looking so promising last season?
Yeah, I feel like they're lacking macro. But they need a better macro movement. Like every time, they're always the reactive team. Every time they try to make a move, it's either super obvious, like when PL got hard because he was AFK jungling for 20 minutes, then suddenly he's manning up into your tier 1, and it's obvious that he has 4 heroes behind him. Or it's some weird move, like smoking 2-3 heroes and feeding, you know? So they for sure like macro coach for next season. I hope to see them getting better because they're good players and they're also good friends of mine.
Yeah. Windblade, on the Infamous side, did they look as strong as you expected them to be, or do you feel like they just kind of got a free win from Hokori?
How do I answer this without upsetting anyone? No.
No, upset people. It's fine. Astini's not on the panel, so you got to take his role.
Yeah, I'm not super impressed with the way they drafted or played. It's just that Hokori gave them so much time. Like, it's as Adio said, they made some good moves, but it's like they didn't think about what to do after they made that move. Like, they get a kill and they're like, what now? Or they have a fat PL who hits a timing, but they haven't really thought about what they want to do with it. Like, they don't move to the right place on the map to get an objective, and eventually they're gonna slip up. And against a draft like Infamous had, you can just punish so easily because you do have those scaling cores and you do have the push. So yeah, I'm not particularly impressed by the way Infamous played because Hokori just kind of handed it to them, even though the PL was really good in this game.
Yeah, it totally did feel that way. I mean, the win lane lose game was very apparent here because of the lack of moves. How do you fix those macro moves though, RDO? I mean, you talked about a coach, but I mean, you know what? I'm gonna reveal it. Whatever. It's the last panel. I get to say these things. Their coach was telling about how he was literally his only job this season has been him watching these games and be like, "What are you doing, Hokori? You're stupid," and just slapping them in the head and go like, "That's dumb. That's dumb. Like, don't do this. Don't do this." And he'd be doing this the whole season, and nothing has changed. Like he it's not about them not knowing what the right moves are to make. They know how to do them, especially outside of the game. But it's in the game their lack of decision to do them. How do you fix that? How do you fix the communication in game rather than the knowledge that you're lacking?
I don't know. You need to have a vocal player. For example, when I played in Hokari, we had the same problems, but Vito is not a guy that talks. Analog's not a guy that talks, and I was like, all right, I don't like to talk, but I'll have to do it. So I started watching the replays and calling Gardic. If we need to do this, you need to say this at this timing. You need to place these kind of words. So we work together as a carry and captain, and our moves started making sense. I feel like they need that. They need to either get a new carry or Yuma and Gardic sit and talk about Dota so they have the same plans, the same ideas. Because everything is so disoriented at the moment.
So you think Yuma needs to be sorry, not Yuma. You think Gardic needs to be that vocal player in the end, like, cause he's kind of lacking that as a 5, as the usual captain. There's not very vocal captain.
No, I feel like they need to have a vocal core.
Someone. Oh,
yes.
Vocal core. Oh,
yes.
Interesting. A core. Okay, right. That's difficult because knowing from what I know, I think they're all very quiet cores.
Yes, sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone in order to win. So that's kind of it for them.
Were you a vocal core, Dio, or did you develop into one?
I prefer to not talk, but I am now a vocal core because It's just
Okay.
natural to me because of ranked games. I have to talk or I'm gonna lose because of noobs.
Okay. How did you develop it though, vocal core?
You just start talking. That's
You
kind of
just start talking.
yeah. You just start talking what you want and what you need, and you get better at it by doing it more. And for example, the best way to become a good vocal core is saying things in ahead of time. Like in 1 minute, I'll have BKB. I want to do this. This is the best
Okay.
way to become a good vocal core. Instead of saying, "Guys, I just finished BKB. I want to go fight." You say in 1 minute I'm gonna have BKB and I wanna go fight, so your team can prepare for the move.
Okay. Okay.